All right, guys, we're here with a late interview of this past Tuesday's champ. It's Micronex. Why don't you say hello?
What's good?
All right,
Micronex here.
all right. We will start this off the way we start every interview off. Talk about your deck and why you decided to play it.
Well, I didn't really decide to play it so much as the fact that it was right before the event. I was looking through decks to play, starting from the top, and this was here. It was a bit incomplete, so I just finished it up and submitted it right before going, and I ended up coming first. So
Well, it worked out for you then.
yeah,
All right, so I for one know this arc or this I won't say archetype, but this deck quite well. And one of the first things that stood out to me going over the list was the high monster count. That's quite abnormal for this deck. I see a few things that lend themselves to the high monster count, such as the hands, the trap tricks engine. But more specifically, I wanted to talk on two specific card choices that just don't make a lot of sense. One being Summoner Monk at 2 with only 7 spells, and then the triple Vandalgion. Go ahead and touch on those two cards for me, please.
okay. Well, I found Summon the Monk was just a good starting point. It helped you to get into Artemis. I mean, like I said, the list was just finished up right before the event, so there wasn't much time to think. But generally, when I played the deck like beforehand, like I played it last year properly, and you would always want to go summon the monk to get Artemis if you didn't have the Artemis. So summon the monk sort of just stuck around, and the fact that it's a bit toolboxy, like you can use it to grab Melio and pop something, or you can go like I know this is a long shot, but you can go monk into honest, make Exitant and bounce the honest. But I just found, yeah, it was there. And Vandalgian, again, it was something that in like games 2 and 3, I could reveal it for Kawaki Miru Drago. And the deck lacks any real beat sticks, so just having something you could drop at 28 was quite nice. I don't actually think I summoned it once the whole time though.
Okay. Hendo, you want to take a question?
Yeah. Um, so anti-meta decks, they would usually I like the Steel Lord Countless and anti-meta decks. Why two when you can only activate once a duel? It would I think it would be kind of a dead draw late game.
True, I guess it was just the fact that I wanted to see it more. I mean, if you can back up something like an Artemis or a Ryo with Fossil Diner and a Silver or a Kalkos, it's a really nice position to be in because they can't attack the Fossil Diner and they can't special summon to get over like 21. They have to get rid of something with a card effect.
Okay.
So if you can slow the game down a bit with like Magic Drain from Wiretaps, it seems relatively okay.
And then why only 2 fire and 2 ice hand? Why not max out on them?
Looking back now, I honestly would have. I mean, in my match in the finals, I would have lost if my opponent knew that I was only playing 2 fire and 2 ice. Because, okay, so he has 5 monsters out, 2 of them are scouts, then there's 2 24 Cliffords and a 28 guy. And it gets to a point where he has Tool and I think it was Helix left to attack. And I'm sitting on my last hand, it was an ice hand. So he could have just swung with the Helix into ice hand and then scout attack the game. But yeah, I honestly would play 3 now, but honestly, it must have just been down to the space, if anything.
Okay. And then also, why main deck something like Chaos Trap Hole? Now, I understand you went towards the counter fairy, so a counter trap, but in this kind of meta, it really only stops Burning Abyss, and I feel like Clifford's the real like pain behind Burning Abyss.
Yeah, I felt it was a reasonable one-off that I could just bring it out, and if it worked in the game 1, which I did play against Burning Abyss Dark Worlds, whether or not I saw it, the Chaos Trap, I can't remember, but it was another counter trap as well. So,
Okay.
and the fact that you could hit extra deck things in other matchups.
it just really sparked my eye that you had that, and then you also had Time Space Trap Hole, which I feel is a really good card, and then you also have Soul Charge, which are three cards that actually have life point cost. So, has Chaos Trap Hole ever dead to you because of life points?
I don't recall anything actually being dead due to life points. Soul Charge was often. I remember Soul Charging against Yang Zing for 2, and against Burning Abyss Dark World, I think I only needed to Soul Charge 1, so life points were never really a problem in the event.
And then just one last question, and then I'll shut up. Why triple Mirror Force in a meta that pretty much destruction of monsters doesn't really hurt the player it's happening to? Why not something like Dimensional Prison?
I just thought it would be nice to clear more than one monster against Califorts. That if I'm sitting with 2 monsters and they swing into me, I can Mirror Force it on my next turn, back it up with something else, and try and get a lot of damage in.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I totally disagree with the triple Mirror Force. I think it potentially can be strong, just because, like in any of those decks, like sure they have the ability to replace themselves because the cards are floaters, but you also have the ability to shut down the play that they lead to, which is probably the most important thing.
Yeah.
But he touched on Chaos Trap Hole, and it like singled the card out when I think that we should probably talk about the actual engine within the deck that, again, in my opinion, is one of the only reasons why I think the monster lineup should creep north of 16, which is Trap Tricks Mermelio. It's a target, right? So why don't you talk about the Trap Tricks engine and how it played out for you?
Without a doubt, I'd say a third Mermelio if I were to play this again. The card was just so good whenever I had it. And, okay, I'm trying to think what I was playing against. No, that wasn't a tournament match. But even so, it's probably something to touch on. That Monk into Mermelio popped something, and I ended up doing that outside the tournament against Noble Knights to get rid of a 4-equip king. But honestly, the third Mermelio just for searching stuff, because if you don't open Artemis, it's like the next best thing to get into a Mermelio.
Okay, well, I think that covers it, or at least enough of the talking points of the main deck. We really don't need you to explain Artemis to us. And looking at the extra deck, I really don't think there's any need whatsoever to cover that, just because it just needs to be a bunch of rank 4 options that apply themselves to multiple scenarios, since the extra deck really isn't, something you focus on with this deck so much. But definitely, let's talk about the side deck. As an overall, you can just kind of like pick certain cards that did well for you, maybe some that didn't, and you would change.
Well, going through the Kawaki Miru and Iron Core stuff was really good. I mean, the fact that you could reveal Vandalgian for, Drago was useful as well, and I ended up leaving my Vandalgians in just for that reason. Then the Space Typhoons, they came in most games, and they were quite useful. I didn't like having them main, so I didn't main them, but sided they were really nice, just bringing them in depending on the matchup. Then the second Chaos Trap Hole, I did bring it in. I probably wouldn't carry on playing it, I don't think. But, I did bring it in against Burning Abyss Dark World. I'm still not sure what that deck was. But, yeah, the debunks, I only really sided them because they're a semi-relevant counter trap. And I brought them in against Yang Zing, where they put a lot of work in. And the Fairy Winds, yeah, I guess I would still side them. I mean, I didn't see them at all, despite having sided them for Cliffords. I think all I saw after Game 2 was like a single MST, which was quite saddening. But most of the side deck I'm quite happy with.
Okay, nope.
Yeah, I was actually really happy with your side deck choices. It seemed very, very anti-meta-ish. And you don't special summon a lot, so Vanities isn't really a big problem for you, so I feel like MSTs weren't really needed. So I did like that choice.
Yeah.
All right, so it seems we covered the deck as a whole pretty all right. So I guess maybe take us through your matchups throughout the night. You know, maybe highlight some really good matchups you thought that were like pivotal to you. I guess well, it's a single elimination, so they're all pivotal to you getting to the finals.
Yeah.
But maybe talk to us about the ones that were really good matches overall or something like that.
Sure. So I might as well talk about every matchup. I mean, the round one was Yangzing, and well, okay, I've just timed out of Wheeler Network's time to get the screenshot up again. I played against Yangzing round one, and honestly, it wasn't that difficult. I just kept going into 2200 Dweller till I won. And in game two, he goes into Scrap Dragon, and I'm like, yeah, okay, Soul Charge for 2, Summon a Monk, Mermelio, overlay for Dweller, overlay for 2600 101, and just win from there. And I remember game one, he actually ran out of Yangzing's search, so that was quite funny when he built up a chain of 4 links and they all had to fizzle because he just was out of Yangzing's.
Wow.
So then game two, or round two even, was Burning Abyss Dark World. And at first I thought this was just like standard Burning Abyss and that he was playing Graffas for 3 pops. But then it turned out to be Dark World as well, and yeah, it wasn't as much of an easy matchup as I found Yangzing to be, and I don't remember that much about it. I think I did go into Dweller again for one of the wins, but game 3 I just kept sitting on like Kawaki Mirror Drago and cycled through hands until I won that.
And this matchup you're talking about specifically is the finals?
That was the semi-finals.
Yeah, that wasn't the finals. I know the finals. That was the one that should have never made it to the finals. How horrible I was playing.
Yeah, the finals was against Clifford, and
Yours truly.
yeah. I don't remember much about the game one apart from, okay, I think this was game one. You dropped towers and I had like Exitant Honest to get out of it, and then I just poked through for game. And then game two you end up going into like a 5 Clifford field. I'm sitting with just a nice hand left over. Sit for ages thinking about what play I'm going to do to get rid of the rest of your life points. And then I realise all I have to do is like normal summon Ice Hand, attack into Scout for game. To like normal summon my second Ice Hand from hand, then like switch the other one to attack, ready to go into both Scouts, and I realised that they're 19 to 10. So didn't even need to summon one. But it was definitely a good matchup. Well, not a good matchup, a good match even. And
yeah, I mean, to be honest, off topic of the interview, how bad I was playing, I should have never made it past round one.
Okay. Well, any final thoughts? Anything you want to mention here?
If I play this again, I likely won't play the Artemis in it. I'll just play like Artifact Trap Tricks or something like that that's really anti-meta-ish with Fossil Dinos and stuff like that. Because I don't actually think I drew a card off Artemis the whole time.
Wow.
I think I could go as far as saying that. But I would definitely keep 3 Mirror Force and probably play a second Abyss Dweller even. It was that good.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Alright then, well, guys, that's your interview, and we will see you all, well, tonight, actually. This is being held while the Saturday night tournament is going on. So, we'll see you in the next interview later.